Hi there, welcome to Neppy Invest, my second video for today, and that's because Zuno's Appendix 4C dropped after the market open. So typically on a trading day, what I do is before the market opens, I look at all the announcements that have been released before the market opens, and then once the market opens, I detach myself from the trading shenanigans of the day until the market closes, and then as soon as the market closes and that post-market auction finishes, at about 4:10, 4:11, I then start to go back to my desk and look at all the announcements that were released during the trading day. And released during the trading day was Zuno's Appendix 4C. So in this video, I'm going to have a look at their Appendix 4C. So first of all, the first thing I'll look at is cash flows from operating activities and receipts from customers. So the main thing I look at here is receipts from customers, and I'm just trying to see if there's any trend. And Zuno definitely has a trend, a long-term trend, all because of COVID-19. And even their operating cash flow, it's pretty good there. So net operating cash flow of $2.8 million, which is even more attractive when you look up to the third line above that. It says income taxes paid 2.4. So they paid some income taxes, and even though they paid those income taxes, they were still cash flow positive to the tune of 2.8. That's quite impressive. When you look at the history of their receipts through time, you notice that it's just boomed over the last 3 quarters, and that's all because of COVID-19. Even before that, in October 2019, that's when we saw an inflection point. They did become cash flow positive in operations that quarter, and we saw the market reward shareholders by increasing the share price from 9.5 cents on open that day when they released that quarterly cash flow report, and it's been rising almost ever since. Although when I look at the chart in a minute, it has begun a bit of a short-term downtrend. But some little bears might say to you that growth has now been played out. It's not growing anymore because they'll look at one quarter, compare it to the next quarter, and because the previous quarter was $19.8 million in receipts and it's gone down, they'll say there's no longer a growth company. I believe you have to look at the trend, and you can't look at quarter on quarter. You've got to look at the overall trend going back a few quarters, because who knows, next quarter we could see $23, $24 million in cash receipts, which would suggest the trend of growth has continued, especially when you consider that the cash receipts increased from January 2020 from 588,000 to 9.9 million in April 20 to $19.8 million in July 20. That growth sort of thing is off the charts high, and you would not expect that to continue. Some financial details from the quarterly cash flow. I'm not going to get into in depth about all the other things they discussed about what they're doing in Germany and China. I did quickly go skim over that, but just some financial details about this quarterly cash flow. So as I mentioned before, they did pay $2.4 million in tax payments. So all these numbers in their report is in New Zealand dollars. They are a New Zealand company. They did pay $5.1 million in dividends. Now, I do have a sort of a love-hate relationship with dividends. So I sort of am of the belief that a company like Zuno may be better off not paying dividends and trying to put their money they receive from operating activities into research development and into growth to try to increase the shareholders' value in the long term, and dividend payments tend to decrease the possibility of growth in a company. So the cash in the company has gone down from $10.3 million to $7.5 million. When you take into account they did a tax payment and a dividend payment this quarter, that's actually quite impressive that they didn't decrease the amount of cash all that much, because those dividend payments and tax payments are one-off unless they start paying dividends every quarter, and most companies don't do that. They still have $14.2 million in inventories, which is quite good. In Australia and New Zealand, they do have $5.1 million in sales, which means they've got $10 million of sales across all cash receipts across the rest of the world. And that's mainly all in B2B, which is business to business, and B2C, which is business to consumer. I think in the report, they did mention they want to focus on B2B, business to business, which sort of does make sense. I did have a look at some of their products online, and they are quite expensive. I think I was looking at some hand lotion, which was like $30 a little bottle. So they probably have significant margins on those business to consumer products they have. Now the chart. So I mentioned before it may have gone into a short-term downtrend. So ever since the high about $3.20 in July, share price has been going down. We're seeing lower highs and lower lows, which sort of signifies a downtrend. And today the share price did decrease by 16 cents or 8.7% based off this report. And the close of trading today, it's reached a level of support. So over the next few days, whether the share price goes below that level of support or it acts as a support and keeps the share price above that will be very important. If it goes below that, I'll continue to be a little bit bearish in the share price. If it stays around this price and starts going up again, you'd say a price of about $1.68 is a bit of support and a good time to buy. So at the moment, we don't have confirmation whether it's going to go below or above. I'm going to remain on the sidelines for now if I was willing to buy this. And if you are willing to buy this, I'm not going to give you any advice whether you should buy, hold, or sell. That's up to you. But for me personally, I'll just remain on the sidelines and see what happens with the share price going forward. And I might even wait for the next quarter in case we see some positive action or some negative action in regards to their sales. So that's all for today for Zuno's October 20 Appendix 4C. Hope you've enjoyed this video. And again, I'm not going to give you any advice about whether to buy, sell, or hold. If you do need advice, make sure you seek out a professional advisor. So that's all for today. Hope you had a good video. Hope this is less than 7 minutes long. Wait and see as I press the exit button to leave. Bye.